Hi everybody. So I got the Glowforge working. That was pretty cool. And got all my parts cut out. Right now I've got them set up with these 1, 2, 3 blocks. It's basically a machinist tool. So it's like 1 inch in this dimension, 2 in this, and 3 in this, plus it's perfectly square and heavy. And so I can, just put it somewhere and that'll help me line everything up nice and square. So I'm just going to start gluing this together and we'll check back in a little bit. Okay, so I got the clamps off. This is together. I pulled this piece out. I was using it to keep it square, but it's actually going to float, right here at the top, or well, I should say the bottom of this part of the desk. And to put that in, I cut these little squares. I'm going to put them in the corners like this to not only strengthen the box, but to give this plate a place to land. And so I'm going to do that now. So now I've got that part glued up and unclamped. You saw in the time lapse I put 2 sheets of this together for the top to make it thicker, and I need to kind of clean up this edge, sand it, and also kind of roll the edges over later. So inside here, this is that's the sort of right side up. I put these little cleats in all the way around and then slid this guy down and hit that, so we should be good there. Now the next part is to put in these 2 little side guys like this, and then the little bottom guys that go in here. And I'm going to do a similar thing and get a couple little blocks to put in there. So here we go. I'm going to add a level of complexity to this that I wasn't really planning. You can see on this top there's a curved cutout here. That's for when you, I guess, come up to the desk. Originally I was just going to keep it square like this, but I decided to go for it. So I created a little template, off of this guy, and then cut out that curve in here. And what's going to happen is there's going to be this little kind of beadboard looking sort of thing that fits right in there, nice and curved. how I'm going to do that is I created this little cradle, and that's going to sit inside, but I'm going to glue this to it. How I made this was went onto the Glowforge and cut all these guys, left it in place, put a piece of tape on it, so when I pulled it out, it was together, but I can still flex it. So that's going to lay right in here, and I'm going to glue it in and then drop it in there. I realized something. After I'd built all this, I was looking at the desk, and it just kind of felt a little too tall. I have only some reference photos at angles, so I couldn't take any real measurements. I was guessing at, coming up with an elevation view and getting my measurements. So I ended up doing a little surgery, and I cut about a 1/4 inch off the top all the way around, and then got this guy in. The thing that's different from last time is you can see I sort of rounded these guys. They were just slats before, just cut. So I took a file and just zipped in between each and sort of rounded them over, creating that sort of almost like a beadboard kind of effect. Put another little piece on the top and on the bottom to create this this trim. The only other issue I had was when I cut that 1/4 inch off the top, my new trim was going to basically reveal a shortcoming here, and you can see I added a little extra piece of wood to fill that little gap right there. So that'll be painted and we'll never see it. So that was the major modification there. Which also meant I had to recut all of these parts. It wasn't hard to do. I just had to figure out the measurements and cut them. So what ends up happening is these are cut, obviously out of a thickness of material, and they're square. But what I want them to end up doing is having sort of a rounded, and I don't know if you can really see that. They're rounded over in towards the center. So basically what I do there is I just take this guy, and the first thing I did was used a Dremel with a little round bit, and you can see I just kind of just beveled that down, got as close to the corners as I could, and just kind of roughly rounded that over. I don't know if that shows it, but you can see I only got to about here. So now I need to finish those corners and kind of give them a look as if they're got a 45 going on there. And so what I'm going to do is just take my file, go in there and create that 45 and that round over. And once that's roughed out, I'll use an emery board. This is like 180 grit and 100 grit on one on each side. And I'll go in and just finesse all that. So I'm about to do that. I got these two done. I'm going to start on these two guys, and then this one's going to be a whole lot of fun too. And not really, but it's actually pretty quick work. So let's get to it. Also, I created this little sort of jeweler's bench kind of a thing. It's just cut a hole in here for the tool and a hole here for a clamp. But that allows me to just be able to rest the piece on here and catch it at angles and stuff so that it doesn't pop through. It's easier than coming over here on the edge. If I overhang it too much like this, it might put too much pressure on the part and break it. Yeah, that's right, Charlie. We don't want it breaking. No. All right, do you want to help? Okay, cool. Charlie and I are going to get started on this now. So here we have the final bunch of parts ready to do final assembly. I'm going to stop here for now, but wanted to show you I've got the top cut out, the edges rounded over, and then this is going to be like a felt insert. I'm not going to really do felt, but I'll paint it to look like felt. Get this on here, and then these guys will fit up in here like this to get that, you know, lined up just right. But that's about it. So I'm gonna stop here. Next time it'll be the assembly of all this stuff, doing the legs. I also had to do a couple of different scales of legs to make sure I got the right shape, so I have to pick that too. All right, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.